to our next call. This is Joshua calling in from Richardson, Texas. Joshua, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you, Dan?
I'm doing
and Courtney?
Fantastic.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, cool. So
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I heard that you are on a college campus and you want to get some advice.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm the president of a student organization at the University of Texas at Dallas called Atheists, Skeptics, and Humanists. So I'm really into skepticism, and as soon as I found out about street epistemology, I loved it, you know? And
yeah.
I think one of our goals as an organization is to encourage skepticism on campus. And I think street epistemology would be a really good way to do that. But yeah, I'm looking for basically some advice on the best way to go about doing that.
Okay, so this is good because I gave a talk. Sorry, Courtney, this is a little bit more in my field here.
This is what I relinquished to you at the beginning of the show. I was like, I don't know much about this.
I gave a talk on this for the Secular Student Alliance this past summer about street epistemology and how you can do it on college campuses and stuff. I have a video of that. That's on my personal channel, ObjectivelyDan, if you want to get more information on that. But let me just give you like the basics of what I suggest for like college campus groups and stuff, or just any organization in general that wants to implement more SE. First of all, I say thanks for looking into it. I think it's a really good thing that you're doing it, but also understand that not everybody is going to approach it the exact same way. And kind of like what we were talking about earlier, it does take a little bit of patience. So I always suggest to people first, hey, try practice sessions of it first. And if you want to, do it with people in your groups, okay? And see what that looks like. See how these responses go. And if you can, try to give little feedback loops to the people that you're talking to. Say, okay, I liked how you approached the topic this way and that way and stuff, right? But maybe I would have done this or that or something like that, and kind of get that information. And also, you know, I totally recommend you look up the other SE channels like Anthony Magnabosco and Cordial Curiosity with Reed Nicewonder and stuff, and see how those people are approaching those conversations, you know, see the people who have done it before and kind of copy them, honestly, like pick up the stuff that they're doing because that's what they have those channels for. The other thing I would say, if you're doing it on a college campus organization level, make sure that, of course, you're checking in with the guidelines of the university and stuff, because there's different ways you can do it, right? You can set up a table and say, hey, we're this group on campus and we want to have conversations, right? So like free conversations and stuff. You don't have to do the video recording. Some people do, some people don't. But again, you got to take into account what your campus guidelines say about that kind of stuff. And, you know, just I'd say that the best thing is to do it with the approach and the intention of having conversations with people genuinely in the interest of their beliefs and not through the proselytization of humanism or atheism or even skepticism. I mean, like, that's kind of an iffy because you're kind of being skeptical and you kind of want to employ some of those values, but just in the general interest of building good connections with people and letting people express their beliefs in avenues that they may not have been able to express before, maybe even expressing some doubts about some things or beliefs that they didn't realize that they had until they said out loud. I think that's kind of, you know, the main goal you want to have with these conversations. So again, I have a whole talk about this that I do on my channel, which I definitely recommend you check out. But those are kind of the basic things I say to a group, and try to make it as organized as possible, try to make it as fun as possible. And I have more details on the specifics if you go check those out. But yeah, how does that sound for an answer to your question?
I think that's, yeah, you basically touched on everything I wanted to ask about, but I'll ask for some more detail.
Cool.
So, yeah, one thing we were thinking about was, you know, whether or not to do the recordings, because it's kind of an added burden for us to have to get a camera and deal with that. But there's also the benefit of being able to share the videos after the fact. And people have a better idea of what it actually is that we're doing if we're looking to recruit more of our club members to actually participate, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the videos are an added bonus, I'd say. It helps when you want to reflect on your conversations and look back at them and say, oh, I could have done this better or that better and stuff. And, you know, I recommend that people do it if they can, but it's absolutely not a requirement. In fact, I wish there were more people that didn't do the videos so much so that we're not just associated with videos, because I really think that people can use these conversational tools in all types of daily situations and stuff, as you probably know.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And I guess the other concern that I have specifically relevant to being part of a student organization on campus is that if we were to set up a booth kind of in a public space, one of the requirements is that we identify our club with signage of some kind.
Yes.
Which, you know, if you watch Anthony Magnabosco or any of these others who are out doing street epistemology and people ask, what is their affiliation or what do they believe about the God belief, for instance, they usually try not to answer that question, mainly because it's not relevant to the discussion. And, you know, it might damage the goodwill of the discussion, potentially.
Yeah.
So, you know, the name of my club is Atheists, Skeptics, and Humanists. So that's just a concern that I had.
Yeah, so honestly, I'd say that this concern is actually a really big positive. And here's why. Let's say you're doing these conversations and other people are watching and they see what that label is all about. And they see, oh, these people aren't debating each other. They're not yelling at each other. They're just having a really nice conversation. And then they see the association with that name. If anything, I think you're building credibility because you're saying, hey, we're this label that you've probably heard of before, atheist, skeptic, whatever. You've probably heard negative things before. But look, we're really not that. We're kind of these nice people who want to have conversations with others. Yeah. So if anything, I think that that's a net positive on you guys' part, that you get to identify yourselves. And that way, when people want to have conversations with you, when they say, hey, I saw this thing on campus the other day, what was that about? You know, they have a group that they can go to and stuff. So I can see why you might be worried, but I think it's a good thing in this case.
Yeah, I think that would be also why you would want to make sure that the people that are representing this have a lot of practice with it, because if you are coming off as having an agenda or being judgmental of someone, then not only will they not open up about what they really think about things, but it would sort of not be productive. And I know that you're trying to simply reach out to people and sort of get an honest feedback. So I think it probably gets easier over time as you practice. I haven't had much experience with it, but I know that Dan and Anthony are very good. So
some might say, I don't know.
Or at least very practiced. So it's something that if you study a bunch and you try and make sure that you maintain that distance from your sort of judgment of what they're saying, which isn't easy. It's not something everybody can do. If you can have representatives of your group be those kind of people that are willing to listen to things they really disagree with and not react in a negative way, I think that'd be an important component of that.
And just to add on to that, Joshua, I was associated, or I still am, affiliated with the Secular Student Alliance at Baylor University. I don't go to Baylor University, but I'm affiliated with their SSA. And the SSA at Baylor is actually not allowed to have signage of any sorts on their campus because they're not an officially recognized group at Baylor. They're not a fully chaptered organization because Baylor is a private Baptist university. So in that sense, it actually works to our disadvantage because the group could never actually go out and do SE stuff on campus with signs and things because they weren't actually allowed to. So I'd say, hey, at least you have the privilege to do that. I think it's a wonderful start, and I wouldn't let it be something to, you know, discourage you from even going out there in the first place. I think it sounds like you really want to do it, and I think once people kind of see what you're actually doing and they get more comfortable, then I think you're going to find a lot of people are going to be interested, even despite, you know, the labels that you have for your group.
Okay, that's really great advice. And yeah, I think I agree with you about the signage. So I'm glad you gave me that perspective.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to try to do this upcoming spring. And and we've had that concern of making sure that the people who are out having the conversations know what they're doing and that they're not, you know, doing a poor job of keeping their cool if somebody's disagreeing with them, or maybe, you know, maybe the person that they're talking to is getting a little defensive, and we need to make sure we're doing the SE technique correctly and representing the club correctly as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
hey, when you do it, send me an email. Let me know. I'll come out there. I'll help you guys set up for sure.
Great.
Yeah.
You said you're in Dallas?
Yes, it's Richardson. It's pretty close to Dallas.
Okay, yeah. Because if you ever want to come out to the Metroplex Atheist events, we're on Meetup, and we'd love to meet you guys and connect with you, because we've worked with the atheist group over at UT Arlington, which is closest to where we meet usually. But I'd like to come out and meet you guys. So.
Yeah. So my email is on the screen there. It's it's truth@atheist-community.org. It's also in the description of the videos and stuff, but definitely reach out to me. I'm close enough to where I could help you guys out for sure. Yeah. I'd love to do that. So, all right, Joshua.
Right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for calling. That was a great call. And call again whenever you need more advice.
Okay. Maybe I'll call back after we've done it a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. We could talk about it on here even. I'd love to do that. So anyway, take care, Joshua. So sorry about that, Courtney. That was kind of